Hi, I'm Paula Fabiano, fourth generation Fabiano, and my favorite is the fruit and nut bark, dark chocolate fruit and nut bark.
Hi, I'm Celeste Porepsky, fourth generation as well. Seafoam is probably my favorite dark chocolate.
I'm Sarah Porepsky. I am the fifth generation, and I love anything with our chocolate.
Hi, I'm Thomas Fabiano. I'm fourth generation. My favorite product would be our homemade nut clusters, milk and dark chocolate.
I'm Samantha Stille von Websky. I'm fifth generation. My favorite would have to be dark chocolate pecan clusters that we hand dip.
Mary Stille, fourth generation, the same, dark pecan cluster.
Paul C. Fabiano, third generation, founder with my father of the Holland Peanut Store, and settle for a dark pecan turtle any day. Years ago, my father and his father had wholesale fruits and veggies where they used to get carload of bananas in. My dad used to pedal with his horse and buggy before the trucks came into existence. He used to get up 3 o'clock in the morning and go to Fenville and deliver bananas. 19 teens, he bought his father out. His father moved to Rochester and my dad took over the store. And he went to a merchant's meeting one time back in the 1919 or earlier than that, probably in 1915. And all of a sudden they started the meeting, it was all in Dutch. And my dad, "Sir," he says, "this is America." He says, "I'm Italian and I'm proud of it. I don't speak Dutch. I know a few words that I picked up during my time in Holland here. But either you talk English or I'm leaving." And I guess a few of the people were quite stunned that my dad had enough nerve to stand up and speak for himself. And ever since then, I think they held their meetings in English. The original store was Fabiano Soda Bar, where Gazelle Sports says. You look above the building, it says Fabiano's. My dad built that in 1919. We lived above the store, so we couldn't escape to work. So I got a few years of experience in the place. And then in 1954, we started the peanut store. That's when I went with my dad. My two brothers had the original Fabiano Soda Bar. They made a lot of candy. Peanut brittle, hard candy, anise squares, butterscotch squares, marshmallow, seafoam. Candy canes was an art in itself. They bought it from my father in '52 and I was in the Army then. And then they closed it in '79.
Grandpa, was it particularly challenging to have like two family businesses open at the same time?
Well, when we opened it, they didn't have the mall. They didn't have the big box stores on the north side. Everything was downtown. Even all your doctor's offices was above the retail stores. You might say friendly competitors. We did a lot of buying together, my brothers and I. And if I didn't have it, I sent them to my brothers, and if they didn't have it, they sent them to me. So, I mean, it was no animosity towards each other. We were still one big, loving Italian family. Got married in '55. Esther was a big help in running the store. And then once the children start coming, she was a busy little gal. She worked in the store, plus raising a family. So the credit goes to her.
We are who we are because of our ancestors. Grandpa taught Dad, Dad taught us how to be in a retail store and how to treat people as we would want to be treated. So we learned a lot from them as far as the facade of the business, or how we are presented to the public. So I think that has been a great asset to us. My dad would always say, you know somebody's name, you look them in the eye and you say their name. That is such a simple thing, but it has to be taught. And my dad and my grandpa taught us that.
1 for 5 and 5 for 10. Thank you, Temple.
What you appreciate from each other that has helped the business to grow, survive, flourish.
That's a good point.
You have enough tape?
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, I think each of us have, a certain quality that we bring to the store, and so Mary is the books, and she's just so smart, and Tom is the Tom is the roaster of the nuts. He does a fabulous job. And he is out there, and he knows PR. There you go. He is great. Yes.
We can sit here and tell everyone's title and do everything, but it's all our personalities that have meshed.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Every single personality is meshed into making this an incredible, successful business. We've all cried on each other's shoulders. We've all yelled at each other's. I have made probably everyone in these chairs cry, not proud of that. Our personalities conflicted, but our personalities love on each other. I mean, let's face it, I could sit here and describe every single one, but you don't have enough tape. Mary is the glue. She's the flat out glue. She's the books. She's the type A.
Dipper.
Because if it was organizational skills for Celeste and I, we wouldn't know where one of the invoices is right now. But the strength of Celeste is different than the strength of Mary, and my strength is different than Paula, and Samantha's is different from Sarah's. But when you mesh it all together, it creates a 5th generation business that survived recessions, depressions, COVID.
We had sand and plywood on the streets in 1988, the summer. It was like the old West, and
yeah, it was not good.
It wasn't. It was
Sidewalk
like
sales were in the back.
We thought that tumbleweeds were going to go down the street because it was barren. However, we all had faith. The Tiermans, the Vogelzangs, the Hungerinks at Reader's World, the Locker Ruggers, the Cobuses, Vandepools at Superior Sports Store. They had faith as well, and their customers had faith. And people chose to continue to keep us going, and that was encouraging, and it was, it brought us to tears that we were really grateful.
Yeah,
and we also had a faith in our family. We never looked back. We never doubted it.
People, when the mall was built, they said, oh, downtown this, downtown that. And this gentleman sitting to my right said, don't hold our funeral yet. And look who's standing and look who's not. We're standing and strong as ever, and I think it's a credit to the community of Holland. It's a credit to the consumer of Holland that they kept supporting us. But I think it's a credit to our whole town, the townships, the surrounding cities, and I just think I just so grateful for how we just stuck together as a town. That's when I was at the core of diving into the business. And I saw that we weren't going to let some developers from out of town ruin our city.
But in 1998, it went from a sole proprietorship to an LLC. So then you had, Paula managing and the 3 of us. Mm-hmm. So there was anxiety with seeing how we were all going to make a living as opposed to one family. So now we had 4 families. So for me, being the bookkeeper, there was anxiety with, are we going to be okay? Even Celeste and I had our husbands, Tom, there was just anxiety with that. Right. And then not that we didn't know each other's personalities, but then there was anxiety with, there was 4 of us coming to work every single day.
People come in there for the comfort. They come in for the fellowship, so to speak. I've heard that many a time, and then they say, you know, we come in for the fellowship primarily, but secondarily we come in for the candy now. And so I think it's kind of a cheap therapy. It's affordable luxury candy, and so I feel like that. I miss, because I'm retired, I miss a lot of the people.
You want to kill our business? Try remodeling that building.
It's true. People come in here, they say, do not change a thing.
Do not change.
Do
We got a deal on green paint 35 years ago, and we haven't changed it since. We are using a peanut in the shell roaster that my father bought used in 1954.
Right.
That's the big cast iron.
And they don't make them like that anymore.
No, you probably
And the nut case, Dad can comment on that.
We had that special made.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's got a heater on the bottom, but we found out that if you heat the cashews and pecans and stuff, say from 9 to 5 or 9 to 9, and shut it off and then open it again, kind of makes them rubbery, so we don't use the heat anymore. But like they said, the peanuts in the shell roaster we bought used in '54, and it's still going today. We had the chocolate cases made in Grand Rapids. Quality is there. I don't know if you bought it new today what the quality is like, because I can't comment on it because I haven't bought it new. But we're happy with what we got out of it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We got our money's worth out of that, huh, Dad?
But 2020 started uniquely for us because we lost the matriarch in February on Leap Day, February 29th. So right after we were able to give her the funeral, the going home ceremony that we wanted to, then we were shut down, so we were all separate. And then that was hard to maneuver on top of everything else. So I think it was multifaceted for us.
Mary, that's a very good point, because, you know, our family being so close, we could not gather and commiserate the death of our mother. And then plus on top of that, then not even a month after that, then we had COVID to deal with. So we were grieving, but then again, we had to rally with the COVID.
Because we were in uncharted territory for our family and then for the business.
Right.
Unprecedented.
None of us knew what 2020 would bring between the division of this country and then with COVID. So we all had a part in to keep the store operating without having a mental or a physical breakdown, because we didn't know what to expect. We were scared, we were intimidated, but we kept our nose to the grindstone. But I think the 5th generation deserves most of the credit because they kept it going. Samantha, like I said, from the social side of it, and Sarah from the physical side of it. And then they were both raising their beautiful children in between that. Pretty much allowed us to be still operating in 2021. So it was a very, 2020 could have been really, really negative, but we turned it into a positive because we salvaged that pretty good year.
We're natural leaders because we have always been in the store, and people just naturally look to us for leadership and for just all different sets of skills that I didn't even really know that I had until I went out into the real world, and I was able to take all of that and be successful and appreciate everything that I have gathered, all along, that we just necessarily didn't know through that hands-on experience and watching everybody before us and what hard workers they are.
A couple words that come to mind are resiliency, perseverance, hard work. our family has faced quite a bit of adversity from the beginning to even today. And so to watch, our family continue to show up for each other, but also our professional selves to show up in our business when it's needed to. There's just nothing like it.
I put in some long hours in my day, and I don't regret it. I made a lot of good friends. My customers turned out to be a lot of my good friends. I hope college students, after coming in for 4 years, you get to know them. And then what I was happy about, after 20, 25 years, they would stop in and say hello when they were bringing their kids to Hope. That was a nice feeling. We were fortunate to have Holland support us, our loyal customers. That's why we've been in business for over 115 years. But in return, we gave our customers good service, good product, fair price, and the friendship that goes with it.
This is the only reason I had friends. They knew my dad and mom owned a candy store.
I mean, for me, the thing that comes to mind is not knowing anybody growing up as a kid, your mom's down there at the store on a Sunday, so that's where we are. So, my brother, Michael, my dad and I, and then everyone, the whole extended family comes down. And so, we're there and, realizing that when you become a little bit older and you realize, well, I kind of want to be home. It's well, you can either be a part of the solution to get home, so you start working. And so then, it becomes more than that though too, because all of a sudden, with our unsophisticated radio that we used to have, we used to play CDs and, Bruce Springsteen, Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson. And when a good song came on, we'd crank it up. Oh, yeah. And then we'd all just at our posts or leave our posts and we'd start dancing and become this big party, but our store is closed. Thank goodness it was, happening on a Sunday because the downtown's closed. Wonder if people looked in. People I'm sure did see us go crazy. Right. But those are my favorite memories. I mean, we used to have these old tin cans for covers for some of our things. Yes. And we would take them and make them as symbols down at the store. We sometimes made lemons into lemonade. You know what I mean? By being there all together. And, those are some of my favorite memories. And, remembering, playing as kids and Michael being there. And, it's just some very special times.
That's a great memory, Sammy. One of my favorite memories is how the generations, maybe, I don't know if the right word is, they have it easier or they're not as harsh on them. Because when Sarah first joined us, and she was still in high school, and right before she was going to go off to Western Michigan, Grandpa took a scraper and a wet towel and said, Sarah, I'd like you to go around the store and scrape everything off the floor, dirty spots that a mop could get. And Sarah went, yeah, right. 3 minutes later, Grandpa's doing it.
Well,
see, that's
also
the grandpa to the granddaughter relationship.
I was just going to say,
it's so awesome to see that. That's the best part about it. That's a great memory for me that she could actually laugh at Grandpa and get away with it. So
for the record, I truly thought that he was kidding. I really thought that he was kidding. I really did.
Well, so Sarah, he had the scraper.
He always walks around with a scraper and a wet towel.
That's awesome.
Good job, Sarah.